Temple of the Divine. I am your host, High Priestess Makita, and I am so glad that you are here. Here on Temple of Divine, we are here to be a guide to help you to discover, celebrate, and explore the divine in you. Today, we have a great topic, and it is one that actually I knew it existed, but I didn't really know the name of it before. And so that is polyamory. But before what we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about the new exciting announcement about the new format for the show, and also kind of the foundation, the spiritual foundation around looking at and having discussions about the things that nobody wants to talk about. Then we're going to talk about polyamory. I'm going to give a little bit of my spiel on my experience because High Priestess Makita has been dating. And then we're going to just continue to go through kind of what are the do's, what are the don'ts, how do you come out as polyamorous, and how does this help? How in the world can this possibly help you with your spiritual development? You are watching Temple of Divine on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media stations. So listen, make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a show every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern right here on Wjzz Cool TV. So now, first of all, let's get foundational, right? So the first of all, the big announcement is that beginning next week, you can join the show directly and be on live with me. There's room for 6 people and 3 right here in the studio. Now, anyone can join live, but to be in here with me, you have to have some qualifications. I need to know who you are. But the point is, we're going to have the conversation and the dialogue, because when you become part of the conversation, then we all learn, we all grow, we all expand, and we all elevate our vibration and our frequency, which is what we want to do to grow spiritually. So, let's talk about briefly, just to kind of give the foundation, why do we talk about things that nobody wants to talk about, and how does that affect your spiritual development? Okay, so what I have found in my experience is that when I have done things that maybe weren't popular or maybe weren't, status quo, and in the past I would feel guilt or shame about it, or wouldn't want to tell anyone, kind of on the down low, because even though I was doing something that maybe I was enjoying or was good for me, I still felt a little weird about it. And the reason that is there actually was a doctor who did a study about our energy and our vibration, and it turns out that, and what I discovered is that there is a frequency along with the emotions that we have, and those frequencies affect how we're able to grow spiritually, how we experience our lives, and all those other things. And so that person is Dr. David Hawkins. He actually did an experiment where he measured the frequency related to different emotions. And so he came up with the map of consciousness. If you watched the show before, you probably have seen me share this map of consciousness. There are several versions. And the thing I want to point out about this is that it's a scale, okay? So at the bottom of the scale is very low frequency emotions, and then it goes upward from fear, from shame, guilt, and apathy, all the way up to enlightenment. So, for example, your spiritual leaders, your Jesus, Buddha, they would be up here at the top of this map of consciousness, and then everything else in between. So when we have things that we desire and things that we want to do and things that we want to experience, but they are maybe they're taboo in society, or they're misunderstood, or maybe you have a family history of people who have said different things about it, or commentary socially, whatever it is, it can make you feel it puts you down here. Now, with the map of consciousness, are you at a low level in every area of your life? No. Typically, there may be some areas where you're in different locations on the scale, but what I found is that sexuality and sexually related topics, content, items tend to be the ones where most people have hang-ups and things that will cause them to not grow. and that they feel guilty about, and they feel kind of on the down low about, and they don't really want to express themselves about. And that, in my opinion, is what fuels the whole, pornography industry and all the, sex workers and all that is fueled by the fact that people have desires and things they want to experience that they just don't feel comfortable about. So when we talk on Temple of Divine about talking about the things nobody wants to talk about and sharing the things that maybe people feel uncomfortable about, it's in the interest of opening up the dialogue, because what you discover when you start to talk about things is that maybe not everybody, I shouldn't say that, but that most people have probably thought about what it is you're thinking about. They've heard about what it is you're thinking about. They've experienced different things that you want to experience or have experienced or feel weird about. And so it's just a matter of having a dialogue so that everyone understands you're okay. Because once you do that, you can move on. You can get beyond it. Once you allow yourself to just experience things, then you can move on. You can decide if you like it. And the key thing, and then I'm going to move on, but the key thing about it is that you be intentional. Okay? So it's one thing to not do a behavior because, my grandma said I shouldn't do it, or my boys say I shouldn't do it, or I read somewhere that that's a bad thing, or the Bible says it's a bad thing, or my minister. That's one thing, right? But that means that you have given over power and control of your life to something outside of you. And the truth is that everything you need to be who you need to be is inside of you, not outside of you. So you can look at it from a position of here where someone else is telling you, or you can look at a position from the divine in you, because we're all energy and God is energy, and we're like little God satellites. So if you have the divinity within you, the power within you, and the energy within you to be able to grow, but you don't know it perhaps. And so if you're making the decision, now you're intentional. So if you're over here and someone says, oh, well, you shouldn't do that, and you go, oh, okay, you're right, I don't want to go to hell. That's different than saying, you know what? I know I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just want to experience that. Because you came here to experience stuff, right? So that's what I want to share about that. So as we start this discussion about polyamory, what I want you to know for sure is that it's okay and nothing is wrong. This is my opinion. Nothing is wrong. It's all about what experiences did you come here to have? What experiences do you want to have? And how do you use the props in this thing, in this big stage production that we call life, to help you to experience what you want to experience, right? So I was joking before the show, but now I think I'm actually going to do it. You know how, okay, I'm going to digress a little bit, but you know how you see somebody and they're, like wearing their baseball cap backwards, and, it's kind of, I always thought of that as a little bit like defiance. It's like, oh, you know what? This is the way everybody else is going to do it. I'm going to do it this way because I'm not going to be about that. I'm going to do it different. So guess what I'm going to do? Today, Wjzz Makita is turning her turban around in defiance against the status quo, okay? And I'm going to wear it backwards, okay? So we about to break it down, and I'm going to go backwards. It's like, wear your baseball cap backwards, okay? So here we go, all right? I don't know. I can't see how that looks. That okay? Okay. So now, to prep the discussion about polyamory, I just got to tell you, I mentioned before that Wjzz Makita has been dating. Okay, now, and I've been having some fun. I have to admit that I've been fun. I was married for a really, really, really long time, right? And so, I was a little bit, I don't know if I want to say shy about it or just not really sure, maybe not sure about myself and all that. And so, I've recently been having quite a bit of fun about it. So, what I discovered, and I don't know, maybe I think I may be polyamorous, but what I really beginning to appreciate is just the variety and the differences in people and how rich it is to meet different people and have conversations with different people, regardless of whether there's, if there's chemistry, that's fun too. Of course, chemistry is a lot of fun. But even just the dynamic of meeting, even if you meet and you go out with somebody that you don't like, right? Like I've went out with people where I was kind of like, okay, you're all right, but I'm not really feeling your vibe really too much. But it's a meal, so let's go with it. And even in those situations, I learned something new. Sometimes I get tips to help me in life. I mean, I love dating, right? So the thing is, why should you have to just date one person? This sounds really bad, doesn't it? I got a whole different perspective on marriage too, because okay, I'm gonna share this one thing, and then I'm digressing, and I'm probably not making any friends. But think about this. You're here on this planet. You're a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. You came here to experience something, right? So doesn't it seem like you should have variety? Like you should experience a whole bunch of different stuff to help you to form your opinions and, just raise your level of context so you can have deeper thought about things. More experiences helps you to generate deeper thought, helps you to have deeper experiences, and to really be able to understand your surroundings. So don't you think you should have varied experiences with lots of different people? I was married for a long time. I think that when there's more dynamic energy and there's different personalities, it helps you to become a richer person. So, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I just think that there's benefits to having a variety of people in your life on a consistent and regular basis to expand your horizons. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it right there. And so when a friend mentioned this name, polyamory, I was like, "What's that? I don't know what that is exactly." And then I looked it up, and believe it or not, WebMD. WebMD, believe it or not. I was like, now this is a pretty credible source. Everybody goes to WebMD for everything. And even they know what polyamory is. So, and basically what polyamory is when you have multiple relationships that are intimate, caring, and intentional with multiple partners at the same time. And they all know each other. Kind of like a family affair. It's like a family affair. So, and so I think there are a lot of people who confuse what polyamory is, and they categorize it, or maybe they've not even considered it, because I'm gonna throw this out here before we go to a station ID, is that if you think about it, your standard relationship, okay, there are probably, if there were more people with different skills, like say for example, I'm single, right? I figured out that I need a team, right? So I need of course the financier, which is the person who has the dough, and then I need the handyman type. Then you need like you gotta have your bad boy. You gotta have at least one bad boy in the team. And then you have, kind of like your standard solid, steady guy to make sure everything is running, according to plan. So really, corporations have teams. Every other organization has teams. Why is it that we as individuals don't have teams to help us with different things? You don't have to be having sex with everybody in your team, clearly, which is what a lot of people say about polyamory. But wouldn't it be, think about I want you to think about it. Now be honest. I want you to think about it. Think about what your life would be like. Think about where the gaps are in your life. Okay, okay, my gutters and my grass is jacked up. I need a helper there. I can't, it's beyond my ability, my skill level. Wouldn't it be great to have a friend who can hook it up, right? Just think about the gaps in your life and think about, and actually there was a show that I was watching, I can't remember what show it was, where there was a woman who was torn because she had like 3 different guys and they had different purposes. It was tea, right? So anyway, before we get to this, into the meaty part of it, you are watching Temple of the Divine, streaming live on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media stations. Now look, make sure to like, share, comment, turn on notifications, share, so you never miss an episode. And just think about this. You can be in the episode. You can actually be in the episode. So if you want to be in the episode, then I'll tell you how to do that. Just text join to 248-516-7730, and you can be right there with me. But listen, so here we go. We're going to talk about polyamory a little bit more. Now, I am a nerdy person, so I have to have definitions and I have to have explanations for things because I just like to know. So I'm going to read. So polyamorous people, this is from WebMD. Polyamorous people have multiple loving, intentional, and intimate relationships at the same time. Polyamory is a type of open or non-monogamous relationship that follows certain guidelines, okay? So now, polyamory specifically refers to people who have multiple romantic relationships at the same time. Hold up. Don't start thinking. See, I know where your mind is. I know where you're going right now. Just stop. Just stop. It's okay. Just don't judge. Just listen and let's keep going, okay? Because it's going to make sense in a minute. Okay. See, I lost my place. It does not mean any type of open relationship that may include more casual sexual partners. In many polyamorous relationships, each partner is aware of the other one. Partners may have relationships or friendships with each other. Think about this. How do you know? You ever watch a show Friends? Wouldn't it be great? Okay, just roll with me on this for a minute. Wouldn't it be great? It's like you have roommates and you have a core group of friends and people that you associate with, and it's all good and all your needs are met in the group. So polyamory is not about just having casual sex with a bunch of different people. It's about having a core group of people who are friends who are also intimate. There's a difference between the two. So why would we talk about this from a spiritual perspective? Why on Temple of the Divine, where I'm, acting as your guide to help you to explore the divine in you, why would we be talking about this? Here's why. Because these types of relationships exist already. You know it. You know that people are in relationships, that there are women who have multiple guys that don't know about each other. But there are also situations where there are couples. I heard of one couple where the guy had two women that were all living together, the three of them. I mean, think about it. That wouldn't be so bad, right? Yeah, one person do the cooking, somebody does laundry, somebody else, you have a girlfriend to go shopping with. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we look at these things and we think, oh, that's taboo. But really, somebody's out here doing it already. So, and they're happy. And they don't really care about you. Like if you are judging a situation and you're like, it's no way that I would have another woman up in here in my house with my man doing anything. Oh no, that's crazy, right? You're gonna judge. Oh no, man, I can't have that. No, she got to do me only. That's it. Yeah, I mean, like, why? Why does that bother you? Why does it matter? And so I think that a lot of times we get caught up in other people's business, and it causes us to judge. And there's a reason why the Bible says don't judge, because the things. Okay, let me break down how energy works. So, if you're drawn to a situation, you're drawn to a topic enough to judge it. It's no way I would have that happening. You already come here kind of pre-wired for a certain experience. And so things that you see in your life are things that actually you are creating based on your thought life and the things that you're thinking about. So honestly, if you're to be completely honest with yourself, you're probably looking at that situation and there's something about it that appeals to you. But because we have beliefs that we've gotten from society, the pulpit, relatives, friends, books, movies, radio shows, we have all these beliefs that say, that is wrong. No way. You know that should not happen. Then, because we have that filter in that says it's bad, it doesn't allow us to have an open mind to look at the situation objectively and see the benefits of it. Because if you think about it, back in before religion, people were having sex with each other all the time, and that was casual, and it was okay, and it was expected. I think I shared in one other show that previously, like today, if somebody's like, maybe not so much today because morals are just went, but there was a time when when it was not taboo to be pregnant on your wedding day, and the reason was because then at least he knew that all the plumbing was working and he was gonna have some kids, right? So it's like, but now, fast forward, society comes in and we change our viewpoints, and all of a sudden something that could be very liberating and very empowering for you becomes this nasty thing that you can't explore because you say in your mind that it's wrong. But there is no wrong, really, when it comes to your personal experience. If you make a decision that you want to have, that you're making, that you want to grow spiritually. Okay, so that was for me. My experience was I want to grow spiritually. So what that requires is that you challenge every belief that you have so that you can get past it and make your own viewpoint about it, right? So I used to be one of those Bible thumping, like, really? And I grew up with my grandmother going, we're not living in sin. We're not doing that. Oh no. You can't, why buy the cow when you can have the milk for free? I can hear my grandmother echoing in my mind right now, right? But there's a bigger thing at play, and that is your spiritual development. That is your spiritual awakening. That is your growth. That is your ability to move through the different emotions and things that come with being a human being so you can command who you are. And so if there's something that is in your psyche that you don't feel comfortable about or that you have judgment about, that's the thing that is your anchor to hold you down and keep you from growing. It'll hold you down. Why, Chris? Why would that happen? Well, the reason that happens is that, let me back up. So the reason that happens is that you have a voice in your head, right? You think you have one, but you have multiple. So you'll look at something, it'll excite you. You'll be like, ooh, I'd like to try that. And then immediately you get a little voice in your head that goes, no, you can't do that because you know what? That is not good. That's nasty. That is not right. It's only supposed to be, this particular, it's supposed to be a man and a woman, and that's it, and it's missionary position, and that's all that's going on. And that right there, oh, no, you can't do that. In your mind, you're like, okay, but dang, that was like fun. You sure? Yes, no, you can't do that, right? And you just got locked down because on the other side of that experience was growth for you. On the other side of that experience was connections that you don't really even know where they would take you. On the other side of that experience is happiness for you. But you just shut yourself down. So now you shut down. Every time you see that, you're reminded you shut yourself down more. And so you can't grow. This is why, it's my opinion, but this is why there's so many cranky, mean, angry religious folks. I love religious folks, but you know what? I love religious people. I was a religious people. I'm a spiritual people now. I was a religious people. I get it. I understand. It's not intentional. But it is because you're locked down. And then you give up all your power to somebody else, even though they're giving it to you. You have the power within you to experience the life that you want and experiment with what you want. Now, having said that, you do, once you take on responsibility, you take on responsibility for everything. So you take responsibility for the outcome, regardless of whether it's a good outcome or bad outcome, right? But the key is you're making the decision. You're running the show. You're running your life. And this is one thing, okay, this is probably going to piss some people off, but I don't care. I'm backwards now. But The one thing that I hear people say all the time, and my grandmother should say it, my mother says it, is God is in control. God is in control. And I feel like this. God gave you control. God gave you control. He gave you his spirit. He gave you everything that he has. He made you a little God satellite. And so to throw up your hands and be like, oh, God's in control, to me, that's like laziness. I'm sorry, I said it. So when you see this experience and you see this group of people live, who have relationships where they're all together, then if that excites you, you know what I think? I think you should do it. Go for it. Experience it. With your eyes open though, right? So it depends on what you like. So my whole thing here, from my perspective, is not to say you must go be polyamorous. Go experience that. No, that's not what my goal is. My goal is for you to say, if you look at polyamory and it excites you, then you should explore it. If it doesn't excite you, don't explore it. But don't judge people who do. So that's my temporary soapbox. So back to the detail. Okay, so back to the definitional part of this. I was on my soapbox, but here I go. So now there are different types of polyamory. So I'm gonna go through those. Solo polyamory includes people who don't have primary partnerships but date multiple people. They remain mostly independent in their personal lives. So when I read this, I was thinking, so how is that polyamory? I guess this is like the guy who is dating other people, and you're okay with that, and so you're cool that he or she is dating other people. If that's okay. And then to this I would say, if it's okay with you, it's okay. Forget what your girlfriends are saying. Forget what your mama said, your grandma, your auntie, uncle, cousins, and all of those people. If you're okay with your dating situation, if he's dating other women and you're okay with that, and he's okay with what's going on, and you're happy, then fine. But here's the key. Okay, so let me say this. Here's the key in this, is that you want to make sure you understand why you're happy. Because you could just be satisfied and not really happy. Because I think a lot of women, you kind of see the situation, but because you feel desperate or because you feel like you can't survive without that man, then you're okay with it. But you're really not okay with it. You're not polyamorous, but you figure, hey, if this is the only way I can be with him, then it has to be okay. But I don't really like it, but it's all right. At least I get to see him sometime. That's not healthy. Okay? That's not healthy. When I say it's okay with you, what I mean is that you have done the inner work and you've gotten to a point in your spiritual walk where you embrace diversity and you realize that it's okay to have different experiences, and you're comfortable with that. You're not giving in because you're trying to please someone. You are recognizing that you really don't see the harm in it from your personal perspective, as long as you know there's guidelines, right? But you're comfortable. So any of this is related to that. So you're watching Temple of the Divine on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Streaming to you live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media stations. And listen, don't forget to like, comment, share, turn on notifications so you never miss an episode, because we're going to cover topics just like this. And we're going to have people who love talking about these things, so you know you're not alone. Every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on Wjzz Cool TV. So, check it out. Put it in your calendar. Mark it down. Share with your friends, because you know You know some of your friends are polyamorous, right? You know they are. You've been suspecting it, then send them, send them some information. Send them a link to this show and say, hey, I was watching this show and the lady was talking about polyamory. What you think about that? Because you got to find your polyamorous friends if you're polyamorous. And that's a good, actually the article does talk about that that's a good way to do it. Let's see how you feel about that. Anyway, I digress, and I'm already halfway through it. I haven't even gotten to all the definitions. Okay, talking too much. The next one is polyfidelity. Polyfidelity refers to a group of 3 or more people who have a committed relationship with each other and do not date outside the group. I just kind of like the scenario I was talking about before, where the gentleman had 2 women who lived with, in the house together, but maybe it's 3. This is kind of like, a lot of times people talk about the communes, the communal living, and things like that. This is kind of that on a lower scale to me. But when I look at this, I don't judge this as something that is wrong or bad, because it's not. It's just about what are you comfortable with. And I think a lot of times if we were just to be honest, we'd be okay with it. We'd be like, oh, cool. He's paying all the bills. I got a buddy to go shopping with. Somebody to hook my bra in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's benefits to having a larger community around you. So, and why not have a close-knit community of people caring about each other? Because from my perspective, sex is not a bad thing. Sex is another extension of love. I think that in society we have gotten it all kind of mixed up and screwed around, and it basically what happened is that many years and decades and centuries ago, people, the powers that be, identified the power of sex and decided to turn it into something of commerce, right? So we've kind of created this environment where sex has been it's kind of like demonized a little bit and made as something dirty, when really it's the cleanest, most purest expression of love that there is between 2 people who care about each other. It can be that, but we kind of made it dirty. But wouldn't it be great if you had maybe not 1, 2, maybe 3 friends, close friends, you're really, really close, and you can express your love, not just in terms of your day-to-day activities and how you care for each other in other areas, how you cook, how you clean, how you come up with ideas, how you interact with each other. But why wouldn't that extend to a physical presence? Even if it's a massage, it doesn't have to be sex, but I'm just saying it would be great. Wouldn't it be great to have a group of friends like that? Okay. I'm taking applications. Okay, I digress. All right. Well, actually, no, I wasn't joking. And the thing about spiritual awakening, when you go on your journey and you get free, where you don't really care about what other people think about you, you can really start to laugh at yourself. You can really, really begin to enjoy life. Life becomes, I'm going to tell you, life becomes magical when you really just don't give a fuck about what anybody else says about you. It just really, it liberates you. You can be happy, because most of the times when you're not happy, when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're all these things, it's not because you can't be happy. It's because you care what somebody else thinks about what you did, what you said, your situation, and you don't understand your ability to create solutions, and you don't understand how powerful your mind is, and how your mind is what helps you create your reality. You don't get any of that. And so it's almost like, from a spiritual perspective, when in my religious life, it was almost like it's virtually impossible to be truly grateful until you really understand what you have. I was working with a lady. She's writing a book, or she wrote a book. It's called Generational Wisdom by Ruhi Marshall. And it's got all these pictures of seeing like elderly people, like 80 and above to 100. It's like all these elder people, right? And some are from Mississippi. They're like down south, African American. And she showed me a video of one of them that were singing like this gospel song, and they felt it from the gut, like, the old school, like, you really kind of got to go down south to go to church. Like, High Priestess Makita, I'm spiritual, but I still love some church sometimes, right? So it was a lady, she was singing this song, and she was all into it and talking about what she'd been through. And then I said, you know what the problem is that nowadays we really don't understand. We don't really have the same struggle that people had before. When you've worked through some stuff, then you can really, really appreciate what you have. And I feel like spiritually, we haven't worked through enough stuff. You haven't worked through enough stuff to realize how powerful you really are. You haven't worked through enough stuff. You can't really feel like gratitude and gratefulness until you really done fucked up some shit. Then you can really be like, oh, wow, man, I shouldn't even be here. Oh, my gosh, this is amazing. Praise God, I'm here. Like, you can't have that conversation with yourself. You can't have a testimony. You don't have a testimony if you just been out there toting your sign, talking, following somebody else's dream, somebody else's life, and listening to somebody else's drama, and making life decisions based on somebody else's opinion. Then you always blame it on somebody else. Oh, I shouldn't have listened to so-and-so. I shouldn't have talked to blah, blah, blah. Gosh darn it, if I just would have followed my own mind and done such and such, then I would have been okay. Then why don't you? This is my whole message is, listen, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Do you? Because in that, you can really become grateful. You're not going to be dissatisfied when you realize how much you really have. You're going to be excited no matter what's going on around. Okay, I digress. Dang it. I've been through almost oh man, how much time I got left? I got other stuff to talk about. Okay, I'm going to shut up. I got excited because I really believe that this inner work that I'm talking to you about, that when I'm talking to you about, explore, go be polyamorous. Do men and women. Do whatever you feel, if that appeals to you. I'm not saying go out and go get crazy. I'm just saying follow your bliss. That's all I'm saying. I don't think, I don't judge one thing or other, but I do say that you need to follow your bliss. Because if something makes you happy, if you got excited about it, let's say you meet somebody and you get really excited about them, like there's something inside you, you just like, ooh, I like this person. And then you show a picture of him to your friend, and then they go, I don't know, does he even work? Girl, he look like a hoe to me. I wouldn't. And then you start thinking about like, oh, maybe you're right. You're smarter than me. And then you don't experience it. Shame on you. I say follow your guide and follow your heart, because every single time you make a decision, you start the path to a new reality for you. So it's important for you to follow what makes you happy, because what makes you happy has been pre-programmed into you before you were even born. And so what makes you happy it's like a breadcrumb to help you discover you. It's a breadcrumb. So that way you have to make sure that you're following the path. And when you let other people come in there, it messes you up. So what if you screw up? You know what? In that screw up, there was a lesson for you to learn. There was something you needed to pick up from that to take you along on your journey. And if you didn't have the screw up, if you didn't have the problem, if you didn't connect with the people in a certain way, then you wouldn't have that experience. There's been some people that I've met in my life and I'll be like, oh, Lord have mercy. Why on earth are you here? Oh my gosh, why are you here? Oh. You know what I'm saying? There's some people in my life I'm just like, But later on, like there was this, okay, I'm digressing, but there was this group, a couple people I used to work with. There was this particular group of two people, and I nicknamed them the Terminator Twins because they were so hard to work with. Everybody, no one could get along with them. No one, but me. And I was just like, oh God, why do I have to be the one? Why do I have to be the one? And every time I would have to go talk to them, I'd just be like, I'd just be like, oh God, okay, I can't believe I gotta have it. Okay, let me go have this conversation. And then it would be like a revolving door. I'd have a conversation with them, somebody else would come in, and then it was like, it was like boom, boom, boom on me all the time. But you know what? I grew a backbone during that time. I realized the strength in myself that I really could not give a shit about what other people think. And I could just I could be the intermediary to work stuff out because I didn't care. But I didn't know that. And I wouldn't have known that in that moment had I not had those people in my life. So everything, when I tell you, I know people are like, listen, High Priestess Makeda, there's some stuff that I don't need to have in my life. And what I would say to you is, the reason you have those things in your life is because you haven't learned the lesson yet. And you haven't learned how to control your thinking. And it's your thinking that's the problem, not your situation. When you get tired of your situation, then you'll change your thinking and you'll get into a new situation. Anyway, I digress. Okay. Polyamory. We're supposed to be talking about polyamory. Okay. The third, hierarchical polyamory, means people who have primary partnerships to which they devote most time and attention, and secondary and tertiary, I don't know, partnerships that receive less time and attention. The primary partner may have more power over important decisions. So, I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling this one unless I'm the primary. I don't want to be in the secondary because that's just me. I'm a high priestess and I want to be in the primary. If I'm not your primary, I can be somebody's primary. So I don't need to be in any situation where I'm your secondary. I need to go find my, the one where I'm primary, right? Okay? Listen, that's just me. But you could be completely okay being secondary. Because, it's responsibility being primary. You might be like, no, you know what? Secondary is just fine with me. All I need is X, Y, Z, and this fits the bill. And then I'm going to go over here and do this, and I'm going to be happy. But the key thing is, do you. What you feel good about, what you feel comfortable about, what makes you blissful and happy and able to explore your spirituality. That's the thing you need to do. Forget what everybody else is saying. So for me, I'm like, But for you, you might be okay with it. And you know what? I'm okay with it too. So, okay. And then finally, non-hierarchical polyamory refers to people who don't have a hierarchy of partners. It's also called egalitarian this is a tongue twister. Egalitarian polyamory, or relationship anarchy. Each partner may receive equal time and attention. They may also have equal input on important life decisions. I could work with that. I think I could work with that. I don't know, but I think I could work with that better than being secondary. That's just me. Anyway, so there you have it. Now you learned, if you didn't learn anything else today, you learned the 4 different types of polyamory. Now, here's a question you may be asking yourself. You may have asked yourself several times. Okay, well, high priestess, that sounds like swinging. I don't understand. What's the difference between polyamory and swinging? I don't get it. Well, I have an answer for you. So, polyamory is not swinging, but polyamorous people can and do swing. If that makes sense. Because the nature of a polyamorous relationship is that there is care. It's not casual. It's not just a casual situation when you're in a relationship with somebody and you kicking it and that's it. It's more of a contained, mutual love, intimate type relationship. Whereas swinging is just swinging. But you could be polyamorous and go to swing parties, knowing that you are in that relationship. Okay, so that is the difference. So did I get it right here? Right. So you're fostering a relationship with polyamory versus swinging, where hey, you just swing. So did that help? I hope that helped. And comment below if it didn't help, or comment. Let me know what you think. I don't really care what you think. I'm just joking. I would like to hear what your thoughts are about polyamory, because I want to make sure that you understand that if you want to, it's okay. It exists, and we don't judge. Like, if you're judging, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, what breakthrough did you have? What did you learn that you didn't know before? What lifted you up, freed you to be able to think in a different way? That's what I want to hear in the comments. Not like, I ain't never doing that. That's crazy. No, that's judging. And High Priestess Makeda don't have that. But, okay. You are watching Temple of the Divine on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. You are watching live. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Do like, share, comment, turn on your notifications, and share with your friends all your all of your polyamorous friends. Share with them so they can get relief and not feel like they're doing something that's wrong and feel guilty about it. So they can raise the elevation so the whole planet can elevate so we can all be happy and have a big old party. That's what it's about. Your spiritual awakening. You don't have to be confined by, beliefs that don't serve you. You have to get those out and replace them with new ones. Okay? Okay. Oh, and every Friday at 2 p.m. Okay, so next is misconceptions about polyamory. So this is going to set you free right here. And I got to go quick because I'm running out of time. Okay. The first one is polyamory is cheating. No, it's not. But there can be cheating in polyamory. So, if you have a polyamorous relationship and there's the group, and within the group, you're committed within the group, right? If someone in the group tips out and doesn't let the other people in the group know, that's cheating. But polyamory in itself is a committed relationship between people who have agreed consensually to be together. It's a beautiful thing in my eyes because they've all agreed and it serves everyone, right? It's very respectful to me because you're all together and you're sharing and really it's almost like it's like a freer interaction because cheating, you always feel like you're doing something wrong, right? Polyamorous are just avoidant or afraid of commitment. Not true. They are committed. They're just committed to more people. They're committed to more than one person. That's the only thing. It's not that they're not committed. It's not someone is, afraid of commitment, so they're polyamorous. No. Polyamory is a commitment. It's just commitment to more than one person. Next one is polyamorous relationships don't have true intimacy. Okay, now, it's possible that in a polyamorous relationship, you may not feel the same intimacy because you can't wrap your head around the fact that somebody's with somebody else. Like, that might be a thing. You probably shouldn't be polyamorous. But other polyamorous people find that being in an intimate relationship with multiple people creates more intimacy because you're more vulnerable and you're more committed and you're more connected and there's more caring. There's love in it, right? Anything that has love in it is good. So yeah, there can be intimacy in a polyamorous relationship. The next one is polyamorous people don't get jealous. Well, now you know. Listen. Okay, if you're a jealous person, if you're a person who tends to get jealous, if you polyamorous, that's not going to change. You're probably going to be jealous. Why she get more time than I'm getting? Why is he getting more time than I'm getting? What's up? Is he better than me? I don't know. You got to work that out. If that doesn't work for you, then you're not polyamorous. Don't even go there. But it does happen. Parents having multiple partners is damaging to their children. Now, you know what? This goes to my whole point about having a variety of personalities available in an environment. So I'm just going to read this here. Now, since I already gave my opinion, it says, more research is needed to determine the full effect of polyamory on children. However, preliminary research shows that some polyamorous families can be good for children. Just as with monogamous parents, some situations may be better or worse for children depending on several factors. Now, to me, when I think of a polyamorous family, what comes to mind is kind of like the dynamic that you would have with an extended family. It's just with polyamorous, it's friends with benefits. And with your extended family, you've got the, grandma's there, grandpa's there. You have different personalities and different people. So that if you're a child growing up in an environment, where you don't have to just go to mom or dad. You can go to somebody else who can give you a different perspective, a different viewpoint, different experiences. And to me, that makes for a richer experience for a child. But it's the same, and it could be the reverse with a monogamous situation. You only have two parents, then the child only has exposure to those two things. So they pick up just from two people instead of having a variety that they can pick up from to pick and choose, who they want to be and really discover who they are versus becoming who they've seen, if that makes sense. So, okay. And, And this final was polyamorous people just want to have a lot of sex. Now, I ain't mad at you. I think that's true. Let's see. I think some polyamorous people do have a lot of sex. But for many, the focus of polyamory is more about building loving, intimate relationships. More romantic relationships do involve sex, including polyamorous ones. So some people are not in it for that. But some people are. And if you are, it's like, okay, I gotta go here. This is kind of funny to me. But so, and again, we're talking about growing and becoming free and not having shame and guilt and apathy around our sexual interests and energies, right? Because when we do that, it allows us to be free. It allows us to elevate spiritually because we're not carrying that guilt around, right? But so what I'm thinking about is that what was I? I forgot what I was thinking about. I'm just saying that I think that it helps so much to be open-minded about things, because then there's somebody out there who's unhappy right now, and a polyamorous relationship would really support them and help them to grow. There's so many people out there who are just lonely. They don't have people around them. They don't have a community around them, and so it's kind of like roommates. Not to mention the financial hardship that many people may be experiencing. So what if you could find 2 or 3 people that you really jive and you really click with and develop that type of relationship and support each other? To me, that would be a much stronger bond and a much more nurturing situation than just to be out here by yourself thinking that you're the only one and being alone when there's so many people out here who are alone. We don't have to be alone. The whole digital landscape has made it so easy for you to just think you're the only one. And it's really not true. It's really not. So even though I joke a lot about polyamory and I do find it humorous and I do find the option appealing in a certain sort of way, the key thing that I want you to receive from this broadcast and from this show is to know that whatever you choose to do, that you choose to do, to follow your bliss and experience what you want to experience, and don't have hang-ups about it. Don't worry about what other people say, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own happiness. And so whatever you need to do to support your happiness, then that's what you should do. And then what you'll find is once you begin the pursuit to follow your happiness and follow your bliss, you're going to find friends along the way who feel the same way you do, who like the same things you like, and you will discover that you don't have to be alone. But if you stay on, if this is a wall, and here's the people who think, oh my gosh, polyamory is wrong, and on this side of the wall there are people like, hey, and you stay over here, even though in your mind you're like, hey, then you're going to choke your life off from the richness that you could experience, because you chose, instead of following your inner divinity that says, hey, you're going to stop. It's kind of like you're going to plug yourself up by following what somebody else says because you don't want to be judged. And so to me, to you, I say, don't do that. Don't do that. We're always going to talk about here on this show things that nobody wants to talk about. And the reason that I like that is because when we have these conversations and we have these dialogues and we talk about things, then we begin to understand that it's not that bad. It's like fear, this acronym for fear that people say, false evidence appearing real. It really is, the truth is, the reality is the reality that you experience and you create. So if you want to have a joyous, happy life, then you have to become a joyous, happy person. And it is, I don't want to say it's impossible, but my personal experience is, it's impossible to have a joyous, happy life if you're constantly concerned about what other people are going to think about you. Now, does that mean ignore what other people have to say and don't talk to them? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have ownership. What I'm always talking about here on this show is the difference between being led in your life and being the leader in your life. Renting your life and owning your life. I'm always talking about that because there's nothing wrong with getting advice. In fact, it's encouraged. There's a rich, rich, rich base of knowledge, both in the material world and in the spiritual world, that's available to you to help you on this experience that you call life. Like the book that I was referring to later with the lady with the older, all the elders, the living elders. There's a wealth of knowledge. She was telling me about people who have been in astronauts and high levels in the military and all these things. There's a wealth of knowledge among all of us. And so I'm not saying, oh well, I'm just gonna do my thing and I'm not gonna listen to nobody. No, I'm saying take ownership and connect with what you want to experience. And I will tell you that you got some work to do. Depending on where you are in your spiritual journey, you're gonna have some work to do. I had work to do. It took a long time for me to. It took a long time for me to get to a point where I could make that leap. But you can do it. You can live a happy, fulfilled life by being free and taking ownership for you. This has been High Priestess Makita here on Temple of the Divine, broadcasting live on WJZC Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Please make sure to like, share, comment, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. See you next week on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern on